Let's spend $113,126 over 6 weeks making video content. So this is a fictional company, but it's based on real world experience that I have. So here we go. ABC Manufacturing, our fake manufacturing company, has about $8 million in revenue. They have increasing video content asks and needs. They don't want to increase the vendor budget. They're already spending quite a bit on vendors. The future that we're going to help guide them to is have one new full-time employee expand the scope of one current full-time employee. And we're going to do that over the course of 6 weeks. We're going to build something that is more responsive and flexible than currently sending everything out to vendors, create a higher return on investment for, per dollar of video content delivered. The framework that I use to do this type of work, I call it teams, tools, and techniques, because when you make a lot of video content, it is a combination of designing teams of people, full-time employees, vendors and contractors, infrastructure, which is the tools, hardware, software, storage, camera lights and audio, studios, and then techniques, which is workflow, which is how it all works together, works with the broader organization. It's pouring rain, by the way, here in the van. So if you hear a little pitter patter, that's what that is. So the company already has a full-time marketing assistant, and we're going to give that person a small raise and expand that person's scope to include some content creation. We're also going to add a little bit of training and some basic infrastructure to help with that role. This is going to add a modest bump in that person's salary. We're going to streamline with AI current administrative tasks as best we can and find 1.5 days a week for this marketing assistant to create content. We are also going to hire one new full-time employee, a video editor, where I put a salary here of $94,227, which is the salary with benefits. We are going to look for someone with 5 to 10 years of experience who has strong communication skills, the ability to mentor the marketing assistant in content creation, and the skill to build video workflow, which is going to be important as we work either with this very small new team and the current vendors or wish to expand. We're going to avoid software subscription models because we can. In camera lights and audio, we're going to be carefully choosing ecosystems and committing to those, at least in the short term. Storage is going to be simple. We're not going to create networked storage, just solid state drives local to machines with cloud backup until we have at least 2 full-time creative professionals. And we're going to avoid mirrorless cameras with lenses and XLR audio for now. So that might be a little bit of a surprise, but I'll explain further. When it comes to camera and audio, we are going to buy, since we have no cameras yet, we're actually going to buy 3 handheld gimbal cameras. Now, I've been making video for 20 years. It amazes me that I would recommend that, but I just did this. And I have a client who's shooting in a studio with 2 cameras, and they're both Osmo Pockets. It is by far the most versatile, high return on investment, easy to learn camera type system you can buy these days. Most people would recommend mirrorless cameras, and there's nothing wrong with that, but I like to save the money, and I think it's easier and faster, and it's a higher return on investment to get 3 of these handheld gimbals. If they are outgrown, the next thing to buy would be something like a Sony FX30 or maybe the new FX5. In lights, we are going to stick to a market leader. Aperture is a popular brand. I'm using an Amaran light right now, which is the lower end brand within the Aperture ecosystem. And we'll get 1 dome, we get 1 lantern, and that's ways to shape the light, and some tube lights like you see behind me, and some accessories. For computers, I have purchased Apple refurbished computers multiple times. They come out of the box looking brand new. 2 MacBook Pros, 1 with a little higher spec for the new video editor, and 1 where you can save a little bit of money that is for the assistant. For data storage, 2 SSDs that plug right into these laptops and cloud backup. So DaVinci Resolve Studio, just the software, is about $300. If you purchase the Resolve Speed Editor, which is a small piece of hardware, it includes the software. So instead of $600 for just software, it's $870 for the software and 2 interfaces. So I think that's a really good deal. Pixelmator Pro, couple of copies, $98. I am avoiding the industry standard of Adobe here because it's expensive, and in our scenario, we are not forced to engage with vendors using Adobe files. The rain just stopped. I got to go outside in a little bit here. We've made a significant investment in the team and in their tools. And so now we're going to go into the technique, which is how are we going to do this? and we're going to take 6 weeks. So we'll go week by week. Week 1, we are going to promote the marketing assistant, and we are going to schedule 1.5 days per week. We're going to block off the time because it's for this role expansion in the role. We're also going to write post and begin to recruit the full-time editor, video editor role. And we're going to make our purchases in the amount of $10,000 and change. Week 2, we're going to start interviewing the video editor. The gear has been received. The marketing assistant is setting it up and testing it and kind of learning a little bit how to use it. In week 2, that day and a half, the marketing assistant can do some test shooting with the camera, lights, and audio and the Insta360 Luna camera. Week 3, we're going to do final round of interviews for the video editor role, and we're going to send an offer. We are going to have the marketing assistant shoot a 3-camera video podcast, a very short one. It could be 5 minutes, 10 minutes, but just have any 2 people having a conversation with 2 channels of audio and 3 cameras and some kind of lighting. So wide shot, guest, host, but we don't have to edit it. We just want to capture the footage. There's a very good chance that 3-camera podcast is very, very bad technically, creatively, but that's kind of the point. We're going to get into that later on here in the schedule. Week 4, the video editor is now onboarding. Again, this person is like a lead creative and not necessarily a lead producer. So the marketing director remains our person who is going to decide what we are going to do and make sure that it gets delivered for the company. That doesn't mean that the video editor at this level of experience shouldn't be sitting in on meetings and hearing things like asks of marketing communications. Oh, we are going to need to make this year-end video later, or to be able to quickly forecast, oh, that's a half-day shoot and a 2-day edit, and answer things like that quickly. Or this is beyond our capability. That's got to go to a vendor. Week 5, our video editor and marketing assistant are going to be side by side for 1.5 days. The marketing assistant has a specific 1.5 days just for these duties. The other 3.5 days a week, approximately, that person may not be available to work with the video editor. And we're going to go over the 3-camera video podcast footage that was shot back in week 3 by the assistant. So we're just going to have this be the first collaboration where the marketing assistant says, here's my footage. And the video editor will sit with that person and, pull it into the computer, take a look at it, comment on it, make a multi-cam clip, make sure that the audio is there, etc. And that should be a very good first collaboration as they begin to work together. We're going to develop the first version of our proofing and review systems. That's the video editor and the marketing director and the assistant working together, which is how you share content under review and get feedback and iterate it and test it, etc. Week 6, our content pipeline begins. We have enough information coming into week 6 to actually put something on the calendar, to shoot and edit it, to get some kind of rough cuts to stakeholders via our proofing and review systems that we've put together. And we should make our first deliverable, even if it's like a YouTube short, even if the marketing assistant is still shooting with a cell phone. There's something clearly not in our plan, right, which is someone who's dedicated to operating a camera. The marketing assistant can be shooting within the day or day and a half that is available, and the video editor can do this type of shooting too, because we're talking about shooting with gimbals. This is not challenging shooting. Also, we're not getting rid of vendors, so we could still have a vendor do production. And in this scenario where there has been work going on, there already was a pipeline, so there's actually footage ready to cut. There's always footage ready to cut or recut. So we don't need to get a production process, shooting process in place. We mostly need, these are the essentials that we need. If we have these essentials in place, the expanded marketing assistant role and the new video editor role, and we've done these small tests to get our workflow going, we're in business, we're going. If you'd like an additional checklist with some specific action items in this type of scenario for pre-production, production, post-production, and asset management, you can find that at denvervideo.com/tools. I'm also making Let's Save videos about how to reduce cost. Was this helpful? I hope so. Go to denvervideo.com if you'd like to book a free discovery call and we can talk about your situation. For new clients, I always have a short-term satisfaction guarantee on like a first little mini scope of work. We can go fast and just get some stuff done. All right, thanks so much.